All right, y'all, I just want to give a documentation of this. So this may not get many views, it might, but I want to give a documentation. So I just took the Sabbath. In the Bible, it says the Sabbath is the Friday night all the way until Saturday night starts. So as soon as it started getting dark, I started winding down. I was still driving home, and there were some other things I've done during the Sabbath that I shouldn't have done. But it's about improvement, and I know the more that I trust God and do what he says, the better my life has been. So trusting him more in that area, and still many areas I have to let go. And God has been so patient with me, and I've been praying for him to work on those areas and to trust him with my life more and more and with my actions more and more. I'm growing out this right now, man. I feel like I look better clean shaven, but it almost feels like I want to be locked in. I want something on my face to show us like not so much on the outside, right? And focus more on the inside. Like covering that up leads to more. I don't know, man. That's just how I'm feeling. I'm saying I don't know, but I do know. As far as it goes with the business, man, Alex Hormozy, he said to do at least 4 hours every day of marketing, whether that is putting up videos, content, whatever, and I have not been doing that. My main thing, I guess, could be content. It could be outreach, but at least 4 hours a day. You do that 6 days a week, that's 24 hours. It's a part-time job. So do a part-time job's worth of marketing. And the biggest thing I noticed with work is setting out that block of time and genuinely being locked in on it. So yeah, whenever you are focused on that block of time and you're locked in on it, you get so much more done. Like 4 hours of locked in work is honestly more productive of 2 days worth of scattered work. So being completely locked in on that, completely focused. I set my 4 hour timer today for 6:30 to 10:30 right now. I noticed that too, like the Sabbath is gonna change with time. You know what I mean? Like in summer, for example, it'll probably start at like 8:30, but it's winter time right now, so it starts at 5. I used to hate the seasons so much, but there's something beautiful about the seasons, feeling the cold, feeling the heat, different things. And it's making me, like the colder it is, the more I want to make a beautiful home space, because it's like I'm more at home versus summertime, I'm more outside, you know what I mean? You know, it's almost like I want more plants and different things like that in the winter, but more like lights, warmth, comfort in the wintertime in my home space. So that's something beautiful about the seasons as well. But yeah, back to the documentation on the journey. Focusing first on the message and making sure I'm putting out the right message. And I'm stuck between thinking, am I the niche? Or, you know, should I make a specific niche? It feels very hard to pick a specific niche, and I know people have had success with both. So my niches, I kind of wrote a few down, would probably be business, since I'm doing this business. I do UGC affiliate marketing, TikTok shop, which is what I meant by affiliate marketing, and different things of that nature. So that's what I see is that. Faith is another thing in my niche would be Christianity. Fitness, another one in my niche, right? So people that are into business, fitness, that, and art. I absolutely love art. And I noticed on the Sabbath, and one of my friends says my Sabbath. I'm not saying this to call this out, but this message too. God says specifically in the 10 Commandments to do it a certain way. And I struggle with lust the most. He's, doesn't always take the Sabbath on the Sabbath. And I don't either. I didn't even take my Sabbath perfectly or right. You know what I mean? And not to be caught up in the laws or the rules or anything like that, but whenever we listen to God, things seem to work out better. But what comes first is our heart posture, and I think he has an amazing heart towards God. Sometimes I'm like, man, it makes me look at my heart, seeing what his heart's like towards God, and I'm like, man, I could really be better. But I want to show you some of the art that I made, and I noticed during the work week, I can make some arts, do some doodles, but I noticed the art that I make. This one right here, I made this one too. I did finger paint with that one. And then this one right here, a heart. But I did those today. Also put up this easel here. The art that I make, I notice is so much better on the Sabbath because I feel I can fully relax. I'm more in a receptive state, which helps a lot for art. But also I can allow myself to be fully indulged in the art during the work week. It still feels like I'm pushing towards a mission. And then even here, I didn't work a whole lot this week. Like I obviously did good work, but my family was in town, and I'm not going to be able to have those experiences forever. So I spent less time on my craft so I could spend more time with the family this week. But those are the messages, I would say. And even if I don't do 4 hours straight, I could put 2, right? So that way I could build victories and start building victories, because that momentum compounds. But just giving as much as possible. I think most of my clients are still free at the moment, and that's perfectly fine. Here, I'm going to make a video on this. Humility, the strength to do it. No, not that one. Last shall be first. And then I wrote Diddy in quotes. So I was watching the Diddy documentary last night, and he was very successful in the world, but he consistently put himself first. And then there's always restraint, or there's a negative thing at the end of that. Like, like typically people like that get addicted to drugs to fill voids, getting crime, different things like that to continue to stay at the top. And it always catches up with you. But whenever you put yourself last, you will be exalted. And usually in the short moment, it sucks. But in the long term, it's always great. And the best example of that is Jesus Christ. There was a thing where he was being taken to be crucified, and he could have called upon all the angels, but he didn't, to follow God's will. So that's humility, the strength to do something, but restraining, or at least the definition I wrote down. But I want to make another video just really on that topic, but that's more of a documentation of where I'm at currently. Yeah, it feels good to just be open where I'm at with this, because I'm just confident God will provide as long as especially whenever I do what he says. So, and he has been amazing ever since I went away from the roofing sales. So super blessed. Yeah, gonna make some of those other videos.